Losing a woman's respect is the fastest way to lose the woman herself. And it's not just her you lose. You lose a part of yourself too. So today, I'm going to give you 3 mistakes that, if you're making them, and chances are, you are, will guarantee you never earn her respect. Mistake number 1. Not knowing the difference between seeking approval and seeking advice. Let me explain something important about women. Women genuinely enjoy helping. They love the feeling of offering support. And one of the strongest ways for a woman to bond emotionally with someone is by giving that support. The problem is, most guys don't actually know how to ask for advice in the right way. They end up asking in a way that makes them look like they're chasing approval instead. By the way, asking a woman for advice can be one of the fastest ways to create a connection with her. Whether you just getting to know her or you've been together for years. If you like a woman and want her attention, ask her opinion on something, and watch how she starts leaning into the conversation. But here is the key. You must be able to tell the difference between asking for her perspective and seeking her stamp of approval. Most men blur that line without even realizing it. Every guy at some point has asked a woman, "What do you think about this?" or "Should I do that?" There's nothing wrong with that in itself. If you're in a relationship, of course there are going to be situations where you talk things over, especially if it's something that impacts both of you. A man who ignores every thought or concern his partner has is a fool. The problem isn't the question itself. The problem is why you're asking it, because many men aren't really asking to hear her opinion, they re-asking to be reassured that they remaking the right move. It comes out in little phrases like, "What do you think if I go out with the guys tonight?" Or "Do you think I should take this opportunity?" But underneath those words, what they're really saying is, "Will you be upset? Will this cause tension between us?" And the moment you start running all your decisions through that filter, how will she react? You've already shifted your center of gravity. You're no longer making choices based on your own values or principles. You're making them based on fear. And women notice this fast. Sometimes faster than you even notice it in yourself. Once you start making decisions to please her, she becomes the sun your whole world revolves around. She might not call it out directly. She might smile, go along with it, and act like everything's fine. But make no mistake, in her mind, the respect meter is quietly ticking downward. And here's the dangerous part. The more you try not to upset her, the easier you are to predict and manipulate. And yes, women, consciously or unconsciously, will test that. So here's the takeaway. When you ask for her input about something you're planning to do, don't do it out of fear of her reaction. Do it because you genuinely value her perspective. If it's about your own life, traveling, going out with your friends, starting a new hobby, you don't need her approval to move forward. Now, when it's something that involves both of you, that's a different story. And I want you to lock in for this part, because I am about to give you a piece of advice that could change the way you lead in a relationship forever. Let's say you want to go to the movies. You tell her, "Let's go." She says, "No, let's go to the pool instead." What do? Here's where the line between leader and follower is drawn. If you just go, "All right, pool it is," and follow her plan. What happened? You both ended up doing what she wanted. That might sound harmless in the moment. She's happy, right? But in that moment, you surrendered the lead. And whether she says it or not, you lost a little bit of her respect. Do that enough times, and one day you'll realize you can't lead her anywhere at all. What should you do instead? You hold your ground. You say, "I want to go to the movies." If she insists again on the pool, you calmly respond, "No, I'm going to the movies." If you want to go to the pool, go ahead. I'll see you later. And then you actually go to the movies. Do this enough times and something interesting happens. She stops pushing back just to test you. She starts respecting your direction, and more often than not, she'll follow your lead. Now, I'm not saying you should never compromise. That's not the point. The point is to stop building the habit of defaulting to her desires when yours are just as valid. If you're always folding, you're teaching her that you can be swayed out of your own decisions. And yes, I know it might sound a little narcissistic, but here's the truth. She wants you to lead. That's not me talking. That's human nature. If you have a problem with it, blame biology, not me. Mistake number 2, sending the signal that you expect her to reject you. Here's how this looks in real life. She posts a picture with another guy. You see it and immediately think, "She's not into me anymore." And the next time you talk, you bring up that picture. Or maybe she doesn't reply to your message for hours. You start overthinking and you bring that up too. When you do that, you're rebroadcasting a very clear message. I am already preparing for you to reject me. Here's the golden rule you need to remember. Every woman on the planet, no matter who she is, loves to make it seem like you haven't quite gotten to her yet. Even if she likes you, she's not going to throw her whole heart on the table right away, especially early on. Why? It's a test, a subconscious one most of the time. She wants to see if you'll lose your confidence. Think about it. If she delays her reply and you start getting moody about it, that means she's already got the upper hand. And why would she be attracted to a man she can emotionally unbalance that easily? What she wants is strength, which means you need to outlast her in that space. So here's the filter you should start using. Whenever she seems to reject you, delay you, or hint that she's not interested, tell yourself she's doing this to test my confidence. And then carry on like nothing happened. Never confront her about it, never whine about it, never try to decode her behavior with her. Even though women often run these little tests unconsciously, you still need to keep your eyes open, especially for the ones who take it to extremes. What do I mean by extremes? I'm talking about a woman who constantly tries to make you jealous, who lies frequently, or who seems to thrive on stirring up drama. Let's say you've just started talking to a woman. You're trying to build a real connection, maybe open up a bit and let her see your personality. But right in the middle of that process, she starts pushing boundaries in a way that feels disrespectful or tactless. You two don't even have a solid relationship yet, and she's already making things unnecessarily difficult. Why? Well, here's the thing: just because she's interested enough to test you doesn't mean she's worth passing the test for. If she's coming in with toxic energy from day one, you don't need to win her game. You don't need to prove you can handle her chaos. Sure, you could play along, tease her, outwit her, flip the script to spark attraction. But you've got to ask yourself, at what cost? Acting like that forces you to lower your own standards. And when you lower your standards, you attract more of the same kind of woman. The ones who live for power struggles, drama, and control. If you have high standards for how you want to be treated, for the kind of relationship you want, then you have to enforce them. That means walking away from any situation that doesn't match them. Because here's a fact: you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. If you have a problem with it, blame biology, not me. If you're operating from a place of self-respect, clarity, and firm boundaries, you'll naturally filter out people who can't meet you there. Manipulative men. They pull in drama queens because they speak the same emotional language. Nice guys with no boundaries, they attract bossy, controlling women because their lack of backbone invites that dynamic. So don't waste your time outsmarting a woman whose default setting is toxic tests. That's not clever, that's self-sabotage. Now let us move to mistake number 3. Leaning on a woman for emotional support before she has earned your trust and respect. Look, leaning on a woman can be a beautiful part of intimacy. Opening up, being vulnerable, letting her see the real you. These are important, but timing is everything. If you lean too soon before she has developed genuine respect and attraction toward you, you're taking a huge risk. Why? Because women, by nature, are nurturing. They can be incredibly supportive, but that support doesn't come instantly and unconditionally. It's earned through trust, consistency, and proof that you can stand on your own. A high-quality woman will absolutely stand by her man through storms if he's shown he's worthy of that trust. But if you open the floodgates too early, before she's seen your strength, what she often sees instead is weakness. And weakness without the foundation of earned respect can plant seeds of doubt in her mind. Those seeds grow into questions. Is this who he really is? Can he handle life when it gets harder? Do I have to be the strong one here? And sometimes, when she doesn't have the answer, she'll start testing you to find out. Let me give you a real example I came across from a popular women's dating advice blog. The author described a moment from her high school years. She was interested in a guy, and early on, he opened up about one of the most painful moments of his life, approaching his father's casket at the funeral. In that moment, he broke down crying in front of her. Now, on one hand, she sympathized. On the other, she admitted that she felt unsettled. Not because grief isn't valid, but because she saw this deep vulnerability so early, before she had built the capacity to carry it with him. A few days later, the guy was back to his normal self. Trying to make a sweet gesture, he asked her for a photo, telling her how lucky he felt to be with such a wonderful girl. She decided to test him not maliciously, but to see if the earlier weakness was a one-time thing or a pattern. She told him to stay up all night until one of her favorite songs came on the radio, and promised she'd give him the photo as a reward. He did it without question, and that was it. She lost all attraction for him and broke things off soon after. Why? Because instead of challenging her unreasonable request or setting a limit, he bent over backwards to please her. Combined with the earlier emotional display, this convinced her he wasn't the strong, steady presence she was looking for. Had he waited until she was more emotionally invested, until she'd seen his resilience and leadership, that vulnerable side might have deepened their connection instead of breaking it. In the early stages of a relationship, some women simply aren't ready to hold the full weight of a man's emotional world. That doesn't make them bad, it just means timing matters. We men have insecurities, we have fears, and of course, we want a woman who will love us through them. But the reality is this: showing your full emotional hand too early is like revealing your battle strategy to the other side before the war has even started. It leaves you exposed. And if she hasn't already seen your strength, she's more likely to question you or test you instead of trusting you. So let's bring all of this together. The 3 mistakes blurring the line between seeking advice and seeking approval, signaling that you expect rejection, and leaning too early for emotional support, all have one thing in common. They chip away at the one thing a woman must feel to reward you if the relationship is going to last: respect. Without respect, attraction dies. It doesn't matter how good you look, how funny you are, or how much you have in common. When respect goes, everything else follows. Now, let's get real. These mistakes aren't about being perfect. Every guy slips up now and then. It's about becoming aware of the patterns and breaking them before they become habits. Because habits shape your identity, and your identity, who you are, shapes the kind of people you attract. When you constantly ask for a woman's opinion out of fear she'll be upset, you're telling her you can't lead yourself. When you overreact to her little tests or jealous triggers, you're showing her she can control your emotions. And when you lean on her too soon for emotional support, you re-asking her to carry weight she is not ready to carry, and she'll L-drop it. The irony is, women want you to be strong. They want you to be confident enough to take the lead, steady enough not to flinch when they test you, and self-reliant enough to handle your emotions before handing them over to her. Now, does that mean you never take her opinion? Of course not. A good leader listens, but you don't depend on her approval to move forward. Does it mean you never show vulnerability? No. It means you time it right after she has seen your strength and proven she can handle your heart. If you start applying these principles, you'll notice something interesting. The tests get shorter. The resistance fades. She starts leaning into your lead instead of pushing against it. And here's something most guys don't realize. Women aren't consciously plotting all of this. For most, it's instinct. When you lead well, her instincts tell her, this man can handle me. This man can handle life. And that's when you get her trust, her loyalty, and yes, her respect. Now, I'm not going to pretend this is easy. Holding your ground when she disagrees, staying cool when she delays her reply, or resisting the urge to overshare your emotions. All of this takes discipline. But it's that discipline that makes you different from most men. Think of it like building muscle. The first reps are uncomfortable, even painful. But over time, it becomes second nature. Your posture changes. Your presence changes. People notice, especially women. So here's your action plan. Before asking for her opinion, ask yourself, am I looking for her insight or her permission? When she pulls back, delays, or tries to trigger jealousy, remind yourself, this is a confidence test. I pass by staying unshaken. Save your deepest vulnerability for the right time, after trust, respect, and attraction are firmly in place. One last thing, leadership in a relationship doesn't mean control. It doesn't mean you never compromise or never consider her needs. It means you set the tone, the direction, and the standard. You move forward with clarity, and she chooses to follow because she wants to, not because you force her. When you do this, something powerful happens. She feels safe. Safe to relax, safe to be feminine, safe to trust you. And when a woman feels that way, she'll give you the best version of herself without you ever having to ask. So remember, you don't need to be perfect, but you do need to be consistent. Show strength before vulnerability. Lead before you follow. And never hand over the steering wheel of your life out of fear of losing her. Because here's the truth. The fastest way to lose a woman is to lose her respect. And the fastest way to keep her is to earn it, protect it, and never trade it for comfort. If you've made it this far, I just want to say I appreciate you. Most men won't even watch a video like this all the way through, let alone apply it. But if you do, you'll start to see changes in how women respond to you, and more importantly, how you respond to yourself. I'm Mind Unlock, and I'll see you in the next video.